Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Lady Green Thumb 2. Today is January the 7th and I'm on my way to North Haven Gardens to do a workshop which is free at 1 o'clock, so time right now is 12:30 and I'm going to make my way there. And the workshop, by the way, is on organic vegetable gardening by seed. I will include clips and pictures. I don't know what the setup will be there and what I will able to capture. This will go along with the seed that I'm waiting for delivery from Baker Creek of the Sugar Rush peach pepper. Enjoy, happy gardening. Thank you.
Everybody heard of Baker Creek seeds? Mm-hmm. That's my go-to. I can sit there and read this thing for days. This is really a good source to pick out some really fun things to grow. And do pay attention though. For instance, the Brandywine and the Black Cream tomatoes are actually Amish tomatoes from Pennsylvania. They do good there because they have cooler summers. You bring that Brandywine down to Texas, we do sell Brandywines, but if you don't start that tomato plant early, it's gonna fry by the time June comes. So you start by seeds. Right here. Whenever you get all of us who have paper towels at home and you're stuck with that the cardboard tube, if you cut that in about a 3-inch length and then fold it like a pizza box on one side of it and put your soil on the top, it makes a soil puddle. I do that at home and stuff. I learned that from Hugh Richards. So yeah. Anyway, but if you just take your cardboard tube and just cut it about every 3 inches, then you'll crease left and right so that the bottom makes a flat bottom. Then you flip it upside down, and you have a little container. I have a friend of mine. She's a seed hoarder. she goes to Baker Creek. She says, "Oh, I've got to have this. I've got to have this," and then she brings them out, and she never plants them. Anyway, but it was just the whole thing of accumulating. Eventually, you've got to put them out in the garden. So anyway, or do a seed swap. We actually used to do that here. People would bring their old seeds, and it's like, man, I've got too many kales, but I cannot find. For instance, I really want this purple radish. I can't find it anywhere. Do you have any? I'll trade you. That's a good way to get them out the door and get them planted. But I would cover my garden with frost cloth. You cut it to size. This is a 10 by 12. You stretch it over like a tent, then you use binder clips or clothespins to binder clip it to the frame, and then you can use either landscape pins if you want, but you got to anchor it. On days when the winds are 30 miles an hour, you've got to put some bricks down because this stuff's going to blow like a sailcloth. One layer raises your plant's vegetable temperature inside the frame 3 degrees. If you do a double layer, it raises it 6 to 8 degrees. It's a must if you're going to do winter gardening because you know how these up and down temperatures going down. So if you don't do this at night, I usually cut these and fold them per bed as needed. For instance, if I have 8 raised beds, I don't do winter gardening in all 8 beds. I do it in about half that until it gets warmed up. But what's nice about this is the fabric solar rays actually go into the fabric and keep your veggies growing like a greenhouse. Booster bottles are a must to keep your veggies hydrated. We have 2 types. Your tap water does have chlorine in it. If your veggies really don't want a lot of chlorine, spray some more watering can. If you're going to do the big guys like this, 2 more things to cover for plant tags. When doing your little veggie trays, if you decide to do multiple trays, here we go. Plastic reusable called rapid clips. These also come, I got these on Amazon as well. They come in a 6-inch length, which gives you a little bit more writing room, but these are the little 4-inch guys. If you just use a regular pencil and write on here like I did, you can get an eraser when you're done with them and erase it if you get like a
January the 9th. I'm so excited. I just received my order for the single seed challenge that is in this envelope from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. I'm going to actually open this up so you can see what the single seed challenge packet looks like. The packaging has been improved. Before they did not have these little packets to hold the seeds in. If you purchase anything over $10, you get a free seed variety. And this is what I have received, which is the tomato spoon. You can tell that the tomatoes are very tiny. I also ordered Morning Glory. It's a very huge flower and blooms when it is dark. Let's see here. I also ordered The variety of carrot called Kyoto Red. It had very good reviews online. If you go to rareseeds.com, you can definitely look up all these varieties. And then here is the star that I get to grow from seed, and you will see the journey of when I plant this up to when it produces. I hope that I can do that. On the dry side, I might add a little bit more water here, but this looks about right. I can test this out by taking a little in my hand and squeezing it, and it does form, so this is good. Along with adding the water, I had also gone ahead and collected my seed starting items, such as my heating pad over here. This is the box for it. I had purchased this more than 3 years ago, but it's a pretty small one, and it was rolled up in here and very stiff, so I had laid it down flat with some weights on it so it would be ready for me. I'll probably go ahead and heat this up before I start my seeds or the preparation of planting my seeds. So this is the tray that I'm going to use. These are the cells that would go into this tray. So the bottom of this has holes in it. So if there's any excess water, it will drip right into this tray. And then once the seeds are planted, this dome will go over it. There are holes in this plastic dome, and you can open them up here, allow air in to the dome, or you can close it up a little bit at a time if you need to keep moisture in. So this tray will sit on top of this mat, you can imagine, and heat this tray and keep it at a nice heat level for the seeds to germinate. Because peppers require, I believe, 70 to 80 degrees to germinate, it'll keep this nice and warm. And I'm going to also attach this thermometer. It will attach to this heating mat, and there's a probe in it that I will stick into this dome through this hole or through the side. I'll demonstrate later on when I planted my seeds, and I need to attach this thermometer and the probe. I will also attach a grow light on the top here of this shelving unit to provide light once the seedlings are up, but that will come later. Let me go ahead and close this up. I may add a little bit more water depending on when I actually start my seeds in the cell tray. It took me a couple of minutes to set up for this, to show you exactly how I'm going to go about starting the seeds. I did go ahead and add some water to the seed starting mix over here. And while I go through some other information, I'm going to let this just soak during that time. What I did was go ahead and write up the labels for what I'm going to be planting. I decided to plant 4 different types of peppers in those cell trays in 3 cells each. This is the single seed challenge pepper. This will be planted in 1 cell with 1 seed only. And here is a label that will be added to that cell. That's the front, and this is the back. The details for this pepper is listed on the seed packet here, and I'll just let you know what I added to the actual label. But I write relevant information on the tag so that when I do up pot it, once it gets a little bigger, I can just add this tag to the pot as reference. So what this tag has is the name of the pepper, which is Sugar Rush Peach with pepper, and then it's for the single seed challenge and today's date. And I did put a number 1 here on the side, so that indicates that there's only 1 seed here. And then the other relevant information on the back of the packet is it will germinate in about 7 to 10 days, and the depth to plant the pepper seed is 1/4 inch. Once it goes outside, the spacing for planting each pepper, in this case I'll probably have this in a single pot, but I am planting in the other 2 cells extra of these peppers, and I'm going to plant about 2 or 3 seeds each. So the spacing for those would be 18 inches apart. So I might share them. The other thing listed on the packet is the temperature that it thrives in, which is between 70 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, then it requires 8 to 12 hours of minimum full sun. And some packets also, in the case of Baker Creek, they put other information. Each company does it a little bit different. Now the next tag again is the Sugar Rush Peach, which as mentioned, I'll be planting 2 additional cells with 3 seeds each. The next pepper that I'll be planting, which I really enjoyed last year, is the shishito pepper, and this is what it looks like, again from Baker Creek. The next pepper is a serrano pepper, and this is Botanical Interest. I planted this last year as well. Really enjoyed this. I like the flavor of this pepper, and that's why I'm planting it. I use it in quite a few of dishes and snacks that I make, so that's why I'm planting this one. Again, on this tag I put that it's a serrano pepper, and I put 3 cells that will be planted for this with 3 seeds each. The last pepper that I'll be planting in this 12 cell tray will be the fish pepper. I'll put it on this side. And this is also from Baker Creek. That's what the packet looks like. Again, I'm doing 3 cells of 3 each of this pepper. So that's the 4th pepper. I'm going to go ahead and begin to add the potting mix to the 12 cell tray here. If I see any chunks, I will take them out. I'm going to press it down as I go here. There shouldn't be big air pockets in here. One thing to mention too is that I plan to sow another tray just like this, 4 more varieties of peppers, and I'll do that later. So you will definitely see that as I go along. My journaling here of what I'm doing. I'm going to have to go ahead and sift additional seed starting mix because I believe this is going to be just enough for this tray. But I'll be doing the same process again for the other seeds in terms of labeling, putting seed starting mix in a tray, and sowing. I'm pressing it down again so that there's not too many air pockets. Now I could have decided to plant this single seed in a pot of its own, but since I have that heating mat that I showed earlier, I wanted to plant more varieties since I'm heating that mat up anyway and doing all this setup. What I'm going to use for making little holes, a simple skewer will work. Some people, what they do is they cover the cell with potting mix, plant the seed, and then put more soil on top. I'm going to be doing it in a different way, which is, let me remove this cover, is to make the holes, put the seeds, and then cover it as much as I can. If I need more potting mix, I'll go ahead and add that on top. This has worked for me in the past, so I like to just clean it up a little bit, flatten it. The spoon was just used to put the soil in here and press it down. This will allow it to be a little cleaner on the edges especially. Okay, so on this side I'll go ahead and plant. This certainly is a messy job, but I'm used to it. Opening the packet here with the Sugar Rush Peach, and I'm going to pick a seed that looks the best to me in my opinion. So here are the seeds, and I'm going to go ahead and choose this one here. That focuses so you can see it. I'll put these away down here. Put it in my palm for you to see the seed. And look how tiny that is. This seed will hopefully produce these beautiful peppers for me. Go ahead and plant it in this cell over here, and the depth is 1/4 inch. So there's my hole. Here we go. Making sure that the seed has contact with the seed starting mix, and then I'm going to go ahead and cover it and press it down. And just so that I don't forget, I'm going to add the label at this point because there's only 1 seed in there. Here's the start of my single seed challenge 2023. Now for the cells in this case behind it, but I'm going to turn you around so you can see. I'm going to plant 3 seeds in each of these cells of the same pepper. This will be for me to plant where I choose or share it with friends and family. There we go. Those are 3 holes. We have the 3 seeds. I have 6 seeds here, and I'll put them in each hole. Again, pressing it down so there's contact with the seed starting mix. There you have it. Sugar Rush Peach is done. Since I've done this so many times, I really don't need a marker to show how deep I'm planting because I have a very good idea of what a 1/4 inch is. I'm guaranteed to get at least 1 in each of these additional cells. Sugar Rush Peach, here we go. Something to mention of how I store my seeds is in a photo album storage container that you can get from a Hobby Lobby or Michael's. It looks something like this. There's about, I believe, 12 to 18 of these that go into a container. I'll add a picture to show you exactly where these containers fit into. In this case, I have 2 pepper containers because I, again, am a very big pepper fan. So here's the second one, and I pulled out all the additional seeds that I'm going to be sowing in this, as well as another tray just like this from these containers. Next up is the shishito pepper, and I have the tag here, so I will go ahead and plant that. So there will be 9 seeds, 3 in each of the cells. Let me go ahead and make the hole. I just thought that there is a better way of doing this, and I will do that right now. Instead of making these little holes, which is quite time consuming, can get a little messy, is I'll show you on the next row what I will do. I'm going to switch out my skewer for a thicker one because I'm going to show you another method that I'm going to do this that will hopefully be faster. But there you go, the shishito pepper is done. Next up is the serrano pepper. I'll go ahead and get out 9 seeds. There must be about 50 seeds in here. So I'm set for a long time if I store it well. This time around, I'm going to just put the seeds on top because this is a thicker skewer to make a hole and just press them down. I'll be able to look back on this as a different method that I sowed it, see if there is a difference. So going back to the serrano pepper, I'm almost done here. I'm picking again the seeds that look the best to me, so I have many to choose from. Put the rest back in the packet. I'll put this over here. In this case, what I'm going to do is actually press it down into the soil and then cover it. And that puts me a step ahead, saving me a little bit of time. So the serrano pepper is done, and I'll put the label on or in the tray. I'm pressing this down all the way, and you'll see why later. Now the last seed, let me go ahead and put this away. I can't wait for this one. This is, I think, one of my best peppers in terms of taste and the way it looks. This variety too, it doesn't get as tall as other peppers like the cayenne. It's nice and short, and it looks so ornamental. So I'm going to go ahead and put the seeds here. Hope that this comes up. Leave this here again for you to see. I'm going to go ahead and press these seeds down. Okay, that is the fish pepper. I'm done with this. I'll put it back here in the holder, and here's the fish pepper. I'll add the tag. So there we are, full tray of peppers. I'll go ahead and put this aside. The next thing I'm going to do is to add a little bit more moisture to the top here. And with a spray bottle, whenever you start any seeds, it's really recommended that you water very gently. I'm just going to do some cleanup here. There's some milkweed flying, parachute part flying around from last year. The water will help once I start spraying. So I'm just going to spray This water bottle I use for my seed starting, but you don't want to displace the seed. That's why you want to use a water bottle with a fine spray on it. I'm just adjusting the nozzle here. There you go. This will ensure the seeds have contact with the moist potting mix from above. See how I'm cleaning it up here? You can definitely tell this cell has a little less potting mix, but we'll see what happens. Usually you can check to see if you put too much water from above, if the water starts to drip, but that looks pretty good. A little bit more. Okay, that's it for the water. So now this is ready, and the next step is to cover it so that it can build humidity and an environment that will allow the seeds to sprout. And I already got my heating mat ready, so that will really aid in getting this whole tray nice and warm. But what I did was, when I explained that the top rotates, there's holes in here, you can see, I'm going to go ahead and shut it completely so there's no air going into this chamber where the seeds are, because we want to create a nice warm environment for them to sprout. And I'm going to go ahead and add this to the heating mat, and I'll add a picture of what it looks like after everything is set up.